Salutations, my friends, and welcome to a new video. One of my absolute most favorite videos to film is what I've got for you today. I love that I've kind of started out the year filming a lot of my favorites before we go into experimenting outside of the comfort zone later on in the year. I'm kind of just defaulting to my most comforting videos at the moment and kind of doing those things that I know will get me in the mood to read more, get me in the mood to film more, and to kind of share the journey of what 2025 has looked like so far in reading and other things for me. So I hope you guys are ready for an ultimate book video. I particularly really love these videos because it's the type of content that I would not independently make for each of these individual things, but putting it together is always so much fun. It kind of also lets me exist in a bubble for a day so that I can do my journaling, catch up with all of that, maybe read a book that I'm really anticipating and that I really want to share some thoughts with you guys, to also maybe haul or unhaul some books and just spend a day full of books and the things that I really enjoy while I also get to share with you. And that is the most exciting type of video to put together. But before we get started with today's video, I do have to give a massive shout out to Bellesa for partnering with me today. I have worked with them a ton in the past and I absolutely love doing so because every single time we bring you guys a toy giveaway so that every single one of you that signs up to the giveaway wins a little something, and it is very exciting every single time, and today is no different because today we are going to be talking about their newest Whisper collection, which features Bellesa's new Whisper tech, which makes sure that you can have all the pleasure in the world without having to worry about noisiness, because these toys are completely inaudible, completely silent, which is the craziest thing I have ever seen, especially for the different options that you've got available. Like seriously, let's turn this on right now together so that you can hear it. I am going to show you the fact that it is on right now, and let us just collectively simmer on silence. It's crazy. It is the craziest thing I have ever witnessed. Even something like the Whisper Rabbit, which has got dual stimulation, if I were to turn both options on right now, you would not be able to hear a single thing. It is genuinely the wildest thing I have ever witnessed, and I am not mad at it because you know what that means? That means that you never have to choose between power or discretion ever again. You don't have to worry about waking anybody up. You don't have to worry about being noisy in any way, shape, or form. Today I've got 3 different items from the collection to show you. The first one is the Whisper Bullet, which I've shown you guys before. This little thing packs a punch. It's super powerful, but it's also like super tiny, and it's got 5 different speeds so that you can really choose how to go about it. And then you have got the Whisper Vibe and the Whisper Rabbit, which look similar, but they're very different. One offers G-spot stimulation while the other one provides dual stimulation, and it's really cool because specifically for the Rabbit, you can control both of those options separately. And in general, both of these offer 6 different speeds, so you can again really pick and choose how to go about it depending on how you're feeling on that day. And what I love about Bellesa so much, which makes the conversation so easy to have, is that it's a by women company that focuses on all things sexual wellness, and their mission, which they fulfill beautifully, is to empower everybody to embrace, explore, and celebrate their sexuality. And I really love the way that that shows up in their products. And that, my friends, is why I'm hooking you up, because everybody who signs up to the giveaway will either win a free Whisper Vibe or one of their Rose toys for anyone that makes any Whisper purchase. So don't say I didn't tell you, because Bestie Mel has got you covered. So let me give you the lowdown for what's going to happen today, because there are many a thing in my to-do list and we are going to do them all together. So the first thing I have to do is actually update my journal. I am the type of person that keeps her journal all together, so I do all of my lifestyle planner stuff and my bookish stuff in a single spot. I find that's what works the best for me. I've tried to do it separate. I have tried to do one or the other, do one physically, do the other one digitally, do both digitally, both physically, and I have found that the way that I will reach for a journal most, and the most sustainable way to journal for me, is if I just keep it all into like a single mind dump sort of journal. So I have to do my weekly spread, which I have not done. I typically do it every Saturday, but I did not do it this past week. So I need to do my weekly spread. I actually need to plan out my meals for the week, which I have also not done. And I also need to update my journal with my January wrap up. I have all of the pictures printed. I just have not actually pasted it and jotted down thoughts for these books or the reason why I've DNF'd books and the likes, so I need to jot that down as well. I think I also need to update my reading tracker and some other things inside the journal that I have not really looked at in about a week and a half or so. I've been doing really good at updating my journal this year, so I need to show you all of those things, and then we also need to do those things together. And then I also need to unhaul a couple of books on my shelves. I love that I'm looking this way, but they actually are in that corner shelf over there, because those are the books that I read and didn't enjoy in January that I have got no purpose keeping. So I'm going to take those in to one of my favorite bookstores that also accept used books, and they have like a free little library system inside the shop. So basically people can go in and just take books for free, which I think is really cool for a bookstore to do, because you would typically expect them to more so want to sell books other than gift them, but you are able to just walk in, drop something off, and take something with you. So I really want to take those over there so that they don't start collecting dust on the shelves. I told myself I would be really good about unhauling books this year and kind of periodically look at the shelves. So I definitely even want to give my TBR shelf a once over today and kind of see if there's anything that jumps out at me that I do want to get rid of, mostly because I haven't really unhauled anything since about, I'd say, mid-December. So it's been around 2 months now. I feel like it's a really good jumping spot to kind of look at the shelves and go, is there anything? Has anything changed in the past 2 months? Told myself I would kind of do it every 3 months, so we'll do that together. I also need to start a book that I need to finish by this Saturday, so I definitely want to make as much progress with that book as possible. I'll be listening to the audio as I do all of my journaling and stuff, which I think is going to be really cool. And then I need to give you an update on my February TBR, which low-key has not gone the way that I would have expected it to. I've not read a whole lot this month yet. I'm expecting that this week and next are going to be really heavy with the reading for me, but so far this month has been kind of slow with the reading, which I definitely was not anticipating. And then there are other things I definitely want to share with you guys in this video, like showing you my newest Pokemon binder. What is up? Remember how in my latest bookish sleepover, I just literally for the shits and giggles, I opened and ripped some Pokemon packs and not knowing anything about it. It is now devolved into Mel now has actual like binders, and I am looking to build specific master sets, and I am very excited about it. So for those of you who love Pokemon, you'll get a little bit of an update today as to what has happened since I filmed that video, which you might be able to see what has happened since that video. You guys know I am not a Funko lover, okay? I will fully admit this, okay? I will fully be honest here. I have known myself to be a Funko hater in the past, and you guys have also perceived and known me that way. However, I literally went to the TCG store not too long ago, and I saw the cutest little Funko Bulbasaur, and I couldn't not take him home with me. So I am a changed woman, okay? I had to just plop him on the shelves. They also have a Mewtwo that I really, really want, and I did consider going in today to get it. I'm not even gonna lie to you, because again, I'm mostly building a Shrouded Fable master set at the moment, which I know a lot of people have opinions about because people don't love Shrouded Fable. I love it. It's a shorter set, which I really appreciate. It's easy to get because everybody hates it. And it's just in general one of the easier sets to get here in Panama. And so I was like, maybe we could go to the TCG store. I could get a Shrouded Fable booster bundle, and then I could get Mewtwo. And you know what? I'm not ruling it off because the TCG store is open until very, very late, so I could do it if I did want to. However, just wanted to show you the little Bulba boy. Look at him. He's so cute. And so we've got him just right there on the shelves, just chilling. However, there are many an activity we need to go through today. There are many things I want to get done. And again, I just kind of want to exist in this productive bookish bubble for the day. And I'm really excited about that. But before we do any of those things, actually, I need to go downstairs and fetch my lunch. My neighbor, very kindly, love her the most, she has sent me some food from the restaurant she manages, and I'm very excited about it because that restaurant has got like super fresh organic food, and I've shown you the bowls before, but I'm so excited about it. So we are going to fetch that, and then we are going to have lunchies together, and we are going to maybe start out the book that I need to actually get to reading. So I'll show you that once I have got my food with me, because first book on deck is actually a really exciting one. Food has been fetched, and I am so freaking excited about this. This bowl has got chicken, it's got rice, it's got avocado, it's got tomato, it's got carrots. I am so excited. It's also got some plantain in here, and the rice itself, arroz con guandú, señores. It is the best thing ever. It depends on where you're from. Also, you'll call it arroz con guandules, arroz con guandú. It's so freaking good. So I'm excited about this lunchie. It's gonna be fantastic. And while I eat, I am going to be reading The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. Now, this is the mandatory read I need to have done by this Saturday, which is the live show for the Middle-earth Along that Aaron is hosting for the entire Lord of the Rings series, including The Hobbit, but mostly the main trilogy, and then that prequel installment. And I have not yet started this. I do have the audiobook for it, but maybe this will be a good one to get back into, because I did start this about, I want to say, a month and a half ago, and then I got distracted with Stormlight and I never finished it. So I am going to just be restarting this one, listening to the audio, getting the food in, and then we are going to potentially chat about this later as I have got some updates for it. But I do think I might just grab all of the books I need to unhaul right after eating and then heading out to unhaul those, because the weather is getting kind of finicky. Like, I'm looking outside and it definitely rained a lot between giving you the intro and then fetching my food and coming back up. And so I definitely don't want to go out in the rain because it's raining pretty bad right now. It is technically already summer here in Panama, but this rain, whenever it strikes hard, and I do not like to go out in those conditions, okay? Because people get really crazy out on the streets and I would rather not have to do that if I can avoid it. So let's do that. Let us eat, and I will update you when an update is had about this. But I'm really excited to see what I think about this finally, because I'll actually be finishing this go around. So that's gonna be really fun. We are back in the office, and I've actually made some progress with Fellowship of the Ring as I was having lunchies. I am also having dessert right now. I made some chocolate chip macadamia cookies a couple of days ago. They're so freaking good because I freeze them. Oh my god, that's like my favorite thing to do. I just eat them like this. Like, I just grab them from the freezer and I just bite into them while they're frozen. Got to page 41. Not like the biggest of progresses, but I do listen to books at 1x speed. So it does take me longer to get through them. The Hobbits are a little gossipy bunch. I was not expecting that, because I low-key kind of forgot how it started. Like, I know it starts with Bilbo's birthday because that's the same way that the movie starts, and I've already watched the movie. To see so prominently how much the Hobbits gossip, specifically about Bilbo, and make up all of these different rumors about what he has at home, how rich he is, how he has not aged although he is getting older, and how exactly all of these things have happened for him, even how he names Frodo his heir. Like, they really are in on everything, and they want to make sure that everybody knows it too. So I found that quite hilarious. However, I am at the point where we see Gandalf in the book for the first time during Bilbo's birthday, so having a good time with Fellowship. And now I want to grab a couple of books again from my recently read shelf so that I can grab those and take those to the bookstore, donate them, and that way somebody else can get the books and enjoy them more than I did. And so, because we've established that I really don't mind having like incomplete series, I am gonna let go of Caught Up by Liz Tomford. I really enjoyed The Right Move. I loved Play Along. In fact, you will see a vlog later on this week where I do read Play Along, and I give you my updates as I go. Absolutely obsessed. It is my favorite in the series so far. However, I definitely don't need to keep Caught Up because I didn't enjoy it as much as those other two. And so I am only going to be keeping The Right Move and Play Along. I still don't know if I want to read Rewind It Back or even Mile High. I'm not sure. I'm like tossing it back and forth. Mile High because I just have not heard that many great things about it. And then Rewind It Back because I just don't know that I care about Rio enough to read his book. I'm a little bit curious, but I just don't know if I am enough to read his book. And it's kind of the same thing with Mile High. I'm very curious about our main characters. I just don't necessarily know if I am interested in the book all that much, because even seeing their dynamic in other books in the series wasn't all that compelling for me. So I'm like tossing it back and forth. Maybe I will. It is on KU, so I might just go ahead and give it a read there. Then I've got Let's Eat Aki and Haru. This one I read in January and I gave 3 stars to. It didn't wow me in any way, shape, or form. I thought it was like a very empty sort of story. I didn't really understand any of the characters because we didn't really get any backstory or any character build-up, so this one truly was a disappointment as well, so I am going to let that go because it's not anything that I'm like excited about showcasing in my manga shelf, so that one's gotta go. I also, because you guys know I DNF'd this as well, I am gonna let go of Witchcraft for Wayward Girls because to me, most of the time a DNF is like final, and the only times I have ever picked something back up and like retried that out is if it's for a video. And typically for the most part, it's bode well for me, but I just don't know that I'm going to be looking at this book anytime soon to pick it back up and reread it and see if I enjoy it then. So this one's gotta go. Somebody else can enjoy it. It's not gonna be me. And then I have got Where the Dark Stands Still, which I am also going to let go of because I DNF'd in January. And I just know I'm not going to be picking that back up. Whenever I DNF a book, and I know this is not the same for everybody, but whenever I DNF a book, I'm moving on to something else that I might enjoy more, and I don't tend to look back a whole lot, and I'm not the type of person to like fuck around and find out too much when it comes to a DNF and see if like, ooh, maybe later on I can enjoy it. If I didn't click with the book, it may stay DNF'd for like years, and so there is no purpose to keeping this in my unread shelf just to see, or even to put this in my read shelves because I did read a quarter of the book. It's just not worth it to me, so I am going to let go of that, as well as La Petite Morte by Olivia Blake. Also, did not enjoy this book. I gave this 2 stars in January as well, and there is no purpose in me keeping that. In fact, I read this in a reader on Haul It, and the consensus is I am unhauling it. It's the first unhaul of the series, so I am also letting go of that. So those are the 5 books out of the ones I have read recently that I'm saying chaito to, and they're gonna be leaving the shelves and falling into, I am sure, better hands and people that I will assume, especially for like Caught Up, that is like such a popular book. I'm sure somebody will read this and absolutely love it. And then Witchcraft for Wayward Girls is such a newer release that I'm sure the people will go crazy over it if they see it at the bookstore, and they will likely take it with them. So now let's look through my unread shelf and see if there's anything over there. I'm not seeing anything like at first glance, but I'm sure once I deeply look at every shelf, there might be a little something, but I don't think there's anything really, because I think the last time I unhauled really good. I think my initial assessment is right, guys. I don't think there's anything that I need to let go of at this moment. I think I did a really good job at unhauling books this last go around because everything I see are things that I am quite excited to get to this year. So I don't actively see anything that I need to let go of. Things could change, okay? A month from now, I could be letting go of like another 20 books and you never really know with me. But I think at present, I look at everything and I'm like, no, that sparks joy. I haven't read it yet, but like it could be a good one, or that could be a good one, or that could be a nice one. So we're doing good on the unhauling front. So I think it's just gonna be those books that I have read and didn't enjoy that we are going to let go of. And I know the bookshop right now has a 25% discount on all of their books. I don't know if there's going to be anything that I'll be interested in, but it's worth a chance to check out their English section, see if there's anything that remotely sparks a little bit of joy, or something that I've already read but want to own and I don't own it yet. You never really know with these things. So let's go to the bookstore, let's see what they have got, and I'll report back when I get back home. And then as soon as I am back home, we'll get into the journaling and also some more reading of Fellowship of the Ring, and I'm sure we'll dive deeper into the book. I've said the synopsis for Lord of the Rings a million times, and I am sure it goes as an overstatement at this point because it's such a famous series, but I'll still give you a little bit of a synopsis later on when we do finish chapter 1, because I'm still in the middle of chapter 1. It's really long. In audio format, it is literally over an hour long. It's such a long chapter, but we'll get there when I do get back home, and then we'll be able to chat some more, update the journal, do all the things. So let us go to the bookstore. She's a baby. Literally look at her. She's such a baby. Oh, look at the little teeth. Look at the little teeth. A baby still. Wow, mi amor. Que linda, mi amor. Wow. Wow. You want to say hi to the people? Oh, wow. Oh, she's biting the microphone. She's biting the microphone. Hello, everybody. Hello. Oh, look at that. A little Keith. A little forehead Keith. guess who's back home, and back home with a book, a single one, because they didn't have a whole lot of new stock, but also they did have a couple of things, and I was like, okay, this one I have actually read, and I thought I'd just take it home with me because I've never actually owned a physical copy of this book, and thought might as well get myself one to add it to my romance shelf because I really did love this book a lot. And low-key, on a bad day, I might just reread it, and that is Give Me More by Sarah Kate. This is actually a polyamorous romance, and I really, really enjoyed this one. It is definitely one of those like books that takes good care of the characters and building their arcs, and also building up them getting together in a way that makes sense, especially because in this specific polyamorous scenario, you have got two guy pops and then a girly pop, and there is like a lot of deconstructing to do as far as what certain characters feel and what they have internalized for a really long time, and having to like fully embrace what it is that they're looking for and what it is that they're yearning for. And I really liked the way that Sarah Kate went about it in this book. And so whenever anybody asks me for like good poly recs, I always kind of go for this one. And again, not something that I own or I've ever owned. I actually read this digitally, so this was actually a nice one to find, and it was 25% off, which is even better. So the book was even cheaper, which I definitely appreciate. So I paid, honestly, virtually nothing for this one. Una ganga, jóvenes, una ganga. Let us go to the office. Let us put this over there. The only find today, but I think it was a responsible one because we ended up getting, again, something that I've already read. So I don't feel too bad about getting something new that I might not get to so soon. So I think this was a win. I think it's a really, really good one. And now we can actually go into the office and we can, one, start journaling while we listen to Fellowship of the Ring, cut out all of the different pictures, write down all of the different like book reviews, which I think they're going to be really short. I'm not going to be writing like a monologue for these books. I just kind of want to jot down certain thoughts as far as why I didn't enjoy it or why I did, so that if I ever need to reference the book, I can kind of keep that in mind. I have not done so well with updating my journals in that way, and it's mostly because I wait too long to do it. So this year I'm going to really try out to do it very consistently. So that's the hope. So we can go on right to the office where I've got all of my journaling stuff. We can get that updated, and then we can make my weekly spreads and all of the good stuff. And I also have to show you the Pokemon binder, which is actually right there in the background. I was hoping that my new binders would get here today because I'm building several different master sets. However, I was left waiting because the binders are not here yet because I did order them online. But in due time, we'll get to organize these master sets properly so that we can have, you know, specific spaces for all of these. But for today, I show you what I have got so far for Shrouded Fable specifically, and then all of the other good stuff. So let's go to the office. Hello, I'm back. Welcome to the office. Oh, I love this angle. Can I just say that? It's like such a random thing to say. It is time to journal. I love that I say that as if the journal just got here and as if I haven't been using it this entire year so far. Honestly, you can tell how consistent I've been based on where my first bookmark is at. I have used so far this much of the journal, which is honestly quite a bit. So honestly, not too bad. I feel like I've been really, really consistent with using it this year, and it's made me really, really happy because I don't think I've ever been this consistent with journaling. Oh my god, in such a long time. I feel like the last time I was this consistent in my journaling was probably 2021, and I used to really enjoy it, but it was also very time consuming because I was drawing things and just going the extra mile in ways that I definitely do not find myself willing to do these days. Like, I definitely want to make it very personalized and whatnot, but I don't want to be drawing things. And so I'll take the care to build specific thematics, but I'll print everything out, baby. It's so much easier. And so the scrapbook method for me works a lot better than having to draw everything from scratch. Also, I'm not a drawer, like I'm not an artist in that way, so I would rather not. However, there are certain pages we have to update. We have to update my books read page, which I drew myself. The contradiction. I did draw out this entire library setup, so do need to update this, I believe, with my last DNF, which is where the library hides, which that's part of my February TBR. We have to talk about that in a second as well. And so DNF'd that, and I don't think I finished anything after that. I think I've just been reading Apprentice to the Villain for that other video I mentioned, but I have not finished that yet. So I feel like that's my only update for that. And then what else do we have to update here? We have to update, actually, my series tracker, which I also drew myself because I am a little bit of a masochist and I like pretty lines in my journal. I don't know if I'm the only one. It's kind of satisfying to see how everything looks, and so I do have to update this with my DNF of Secrets of the Nile because the series is right here. It's one of the series I was prioritizing this year. It looks like I didn't jot down Apprentice to the Villain in here actually, which is crazy because I was definitely walking in to this year knowing full well that I was going to prioritize that, but that's fine, we'll survive. And then I also have to update my days read. Also, please ignore my TBR page. I made this long before I actually made my my TBR at the beginning of the month, and I, as you can tell, had very different reading plans than what came out in the TBR. And so I feel like my brain's been battling it out a little bit with what I got versus what I was anticipating reading or what I wanted to read. So there's kind of that. Again, I'll give you the update in a second. And essentially what I do with my weekly trackers, I'm like, which one can I show you? Essentially what I do with my weekly spreads is a layout kind of like this. I have 2 days per row, so I do 2 rows per page, so it'll be like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then on the other side I'll do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then I'll do like a small notes section at the bottom. So we need to do that for my current week because I've not done it yet. And we also need to make a little meal plan groceries page, which I also do every single week. I have really switched out the method that I have been, I guess, meal planning, and I have taken it upon myself to be more mindful of even how I go grocery shopping. So instead what I've been doing is that I've been jotting down specific recipes that I want for 2 to 3 days and then going out to get that at the grocery store. And so essentially this is what I've been doing, something like this for my meal plan and groceries. And I have not yet done it for this week because one, my neighbor sent me food today, which was very kind of her. But then also I have groceries until I believe it's either tomorrow or Wednesday, but I think it's closer to like Wednesday, that I don't have to worry about like buying any proteins and stuff. And so we have got enough for then. And I also need to make my January wrap-up page, which I have not done. I do have a little space for it literally right next to this meal plan. I think that is what I'll be using for my January wrap-up, honestly, because might as well, because it's an empty page that I never really used, and it's the only empty page really that I have for the January section of my spread so that it doesn't bleed into February. So we can go ahead and get started with that while I listen to some Fellowship of the Ring and finish chapter 1 and see where we go from there. But honestly, look at this journal. It's massive, by the way. I know some of you guys will probably ask what size this is. This is a B5 journal. It is literally bigger than my freaking head. It is so big, but I personally really enjoy bigger journals. I feel like it gives me enough space to do everything, kind of play around with the decor aspect of it if I want to put in stickers and stuff, which I do have a ton of here. I got all of these stickers from, ooh, I'm going to butcher this name. I've been trying to like figure out how to say it and I feel like I never say it right, but it's Mohrenkunst, maybe. It is an Etsy shop from Germany, which I really, really love. I feel like all of their stickers are really, really freaking cute. And I just got, I mean, evidently I've been using them a lot, but I just got a bunch of different ones. I ended up getting a ton to just make a single batch order, mostly because it was shipping from Germany and I know that these take ages to get to me. And so I got a ton for like different seasons, which we don't have more than 2 seasons here, but it doesn't matter. I make my own seasons. But yeah, I got for different seasons, different occasions. I never really know how I'm feeling up until I'm journaling to know enough what exactly I want to do sticker wise. So I just got a ton and I just kind of make it up as I go. And that is where we are at. I also, oh my God, maybe I should do that today while I listen to Fellowship. I did print out, let me show you. I have them in the closet. Please hold. I did print out these, which I know is like really random. You're gonna be like, Mel, what the heck? But I printed out some Studio Ghibli related stuff so that I could make a spread for all of the Studio Ghibli films, because I have had this goal for about, I'd say like 2 years now probably, literally that I want to watch every single Studio Ghibli film that is out, and I've made really good progress over the past year. However, there are still many a film that I'm missing, so I'm thinking maybe something like this could be cool to do today. Again, as I listen to my bookie book, I feel like I've got enough time to do it. And then again, I do have all of the books that I did read in January printed out so that I can make little reviews on those, and then we'll chat some more about the other things that I've mentioned. Also, isn't it weird to see my shelves like this where they've actually got space at the bottom? And even with my recently read shelf, to see it so empty is insane. I've never seen my shelves look like this in like such a long, well, not never, but like in such a long time. They have not looked like that. So anytime I look at them, I'm like, dude, it feels so weird to have this much space, but it's also great. And to see, I guess, even the unread shelf make progress, as in like the shelves are getting smaller and smaller. I feel like it's also really cool to see just the reading progress in itself. Maybe we can also organize this tonight. I feel like it's gonna be a really productive night for me because it's already 6 p.m. Listen, I was at the bookstore for a very, very long time because I ran into the owner of the shop and we were just there chatting. So I have to be transparent. It's been a hot second since we have last spoken. However, maybe we can tidy up this shelf a little bit because, I mean, first of all, I have to store all of the candles that are there in the living room, and also I kind of do want to rearrange the shelf a little bit because I have mixed up, as I have gotten books, different genres, and right now it's not fully making sense. So I've got like fantasy books scattered all throughout, and I kind of want to group those together so that I can see all of the fantasy books together, all of the romance books together, all of the thrillers, the mangas, graphic novels, and whatnot, so that I know where to reach for if I'm looking for very specific things. And so maybe that can be a good one, and it probably would be a very quick little reorganization moment to do today. So much to think about. We'll get there in due time, but you're here with me tonight, bestie, and I hope you are ready to do loads of bookish things today. Well, friends, it has been a hot second. Oh my god. I got so deep into the journaling and listening to Fellowship of the Ring that I completely lost track of time, and it is quite literally 8:13 p.m. Hello. So I have got some updates for you on Fellowship of the Ring, actually. I finished chapters 1 and the entirety of chapter 2. These chapters are really long on audio. They're like all over an hour long, but I did get to page 81, which is the start of chapter 3. That is literally titled 3 is Company, which is absolutely hilarious. So I finished those 2 chapters, and it's honestly really interesting, as always, because I've watched the movies so many times and I've watched the extended editions, and I kind of have that engraved in my brain so strongly. It is so interesting to see the differences in depth between this and the film, and obviously how much more detailed this is in terms of the world building as far as how the rings were created, Sauron's intent when he created the one ring to rule above them all, even how that magic works, which is not something that I remember being spoken about in the movie in such detail, which oh my god, now I can't recall. Maybe it was and I just can't remember it right now. But even the fact that he doesn't need the rings, all of them, in his hand to be able to control them all. He can just control them from like far away places by just holding the one ring. Anyways, even that was like super fascinating to learn about in the book, in the way that Gandalf kind of walks you through everything that Frodo doesn't know that he needs to know now because he is in possession of the ring, and even the Council of Wizards and even just the hierarchy on the inside and how that structurally works, with Saruman at the top of it being the head of the council, and how a lot of wizards, regardless of whether they are elders or not, seek his counsel and his reassurance in order to kind of be at peace in a way. And even the whole Smeagol Deagol backstory in this was fascinating, so I'm really having a great time with this. I will say the book kind of tells you a lot of the time. It kind of feels like spoken word more than it actively shows you these things, which can sometimes feel a little bit much because it tends to drag on quite a bit in its explanations. However, I don't mind it so much because the writing in itself makes sense, especially because the characters aren't there to experience these things. You have to rely a lot on that one-on-one interaction to learn these things, and so I think it works in the context of the book, and I really am enjoying it. It kind of feels like I'm listening to the latest, hottest goss, which is, through audio, quite fascinating because I wouldn't have expected the book to have been structured that way, but it's honestly really fascinating. I don't feel like I need to give a synopsis, but for the sake of continuity and for the sake of properly talking about this book, I will. And so essentially, in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, we follow a storyline that establishes that in ancient times, rings of power were created by elven smiths, and Sauron, an evil overlord, created one ring to rule above all of them. And through Gandalf, we learn exactly what happens to this one ring and how exactly through the war they managed to fully separate and defeat Sauron and take over this ring, and exactly whose hands this fell into. That then led to the beginning of this book, where we see Bilbo Baggins, Frodo's cousin, hold possession of this ring, a ring that has allowed him to age without looking aged, except that it has claimed something of Bilbo. And we know this pretty blatantly at the start of the book, that he feels very possessive over this ring. He feels like it is his, that he does not want to be separated from it, but at the same time he feels, unbeknownst to him, very weighed down by the power of said ring, yet he does not know that that is the case. And so as the book starts, we see Bilbo in his 11th birthday, and we also observe his cousin, who is our main character in the story, Frodo Baggins, who he named his heir. And as Bilbo departs, one of the things he leaves behind by order of Gandalf is said ring of power, the one ring to rule above them all. And so now Frodo comes into possession of this ring. However, another war is breaking out, and now he must venture out away from the Shire in order to not only destroy the ring, but to also protect the Shire from invasion from Sauron, because he fears that the hobbits will be enslaved by Sauron himself. That is essentially the catalyst of the book and where I'm at now, and the story goes from there. And again, seeing the amount of depth, obviously, which the book will always have it in comparison to a film, is so cool, because I've resisted reading the books for such a long time just because I've consumed so much of the films that I kept thinking, at this point, it feels like the story is ruined because I'm not gonna get any plot plot twist. I'm not gonna get any shocking moments, but still, I think the value holds because every time I watch the movies, I cry. Like, I basically cry the entire way through Fellowship of the Ring every single time I watch it. To walk into this one and still feel so engaged and still feel so invested in the story, despite the fact that I have consumed it, albeit in a different format, I've consumed it so often and so much, is so freaking amazing. And it doesn't happen often with adaptations and its original book. I really am enjoying this read and I can't wait to keep on going with that throughout the week. I don't know how long this book is actually, which would be fascinating to find out here together. This book is 506 pages, which low-key, it doesn't appear it. I feel like this book kind of looks like it's 380, so that's quite long, longer than I was anticipating. But you know what? We have the audio, we've got the physical to carry us through it, and Andy Serkis, who voices over Smeagol in the film, actually narrates the audiobook, which I think is fantastic. And the way that he imitates a lot of the voices for a lot of the other actors is like so spot on that it's crazy. Like, I literally hear Samwise Gamgee in this book, and I hear it in the audiobook and I'm like, dude, that is Sean Astin. Like, it sounds exactly the same. It is crazy how good he is at like impersonating different actors and whatnot. It is so freaking amazing. So the experience, I am loving. That to say though, I do have to show you my journal and exactly how far we got today with the updating. So I did update, obviously, my reading tracker, which is like my library to see how many books I finish in the year. I just needed to add one DNF. Had to log that, and then I also had to scratch it off to make sure that I marked that series as finished. So that is also something I jotted down. I also am doing a bingo challenge with my patrons this year, which is very exciting, and I scratched off a couple of the books that I have read in the past weeks that I did not log on here to get a couple prompts off and to see if I got any closer to actually making a bingo, and I in fact am. I'm literally one spot away in different areas to make my first bingo. So hopefully with me finishing Fellowship of the Ring, do I get to, oh yeah, I absolutely get to scratch something off and get a bingo, which is really, really exciting. So I updated that as well. And then if I go into my February calendar, I did make my weekly spread. Not gonna show it too much because there are things in there that you cannot see yet by the time that this video is going up. And then I think this is probably one of my favorite spreads that I have made. I made my Studio Ghibli log. Like, honestly, look at that. I hope that the camera will actually focus on this quite nicely, but I made this Studio Ghibli log with every single Studio Ghibli film that is out as of today, and not too shabby, honestly. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 movies down. I'm still missing a ton though. Most of these are on Netflix though, so I know I'll get to knock most of these out throughout the year, and then the other ones I might either have to rent or I'll probably check in other platforms to see if they're there. But I'm still missing Castle in the Sky, Grave of the Fireflies, Only Yesterday, Porco Rosso, which I've never heard of actually, Pompoco, Whisper of the Heart, My Neighbors the Yamadas, The Cat Returns, Tales from Earthsea, Arrietty, The Wind Rises, The Tale of the Princess Kaguya, When Marnie Was There, and then The Red Turtle. So progress has been made over the past year over watching these films like a month on, a month off, and then rewatching Howl's Moving Castle like a million times, like every single other girly pop, because we're stereotypical like that. I have made progress, but we can definitely do a little bit better. So this will be a nice little tracker, and now this will feel like, you know, I have to scratch these things off, and it'll feel like a reward every time I do, while also watching a really cozy film, which who wouldn't want to do that? So I'm very excited about it. And then I made my meal plan for the week, which I already knew these things were gonna be like on deck because these are like the remaining things that I have for my grocery run from last week. And then I made my January wrap-up spread, which I did end up making in the February section, so that blank page is gonna stay blank. It just didn't feel right to like backtrack. And so I've just done it here right next to the meal plan, and I think this turned out quite good. Again, I mostly wanted to jot down ratings for all of the books I read and my DNFs and what percentage I DNF'd these in, and then also very small snippets and thoughts, like overall thoughts of what I considered the book to be, so that I that will like spark some memory of, oh, this is why I liked the book, or this is why I DNF'd it, or this is why it was kind of meh for me. And so it's just a little tidbit, nothing too fancy, especially because, again, I don't want to overwhelm myself with like individual reviews for every single book I read. Specifically on a journal, jot down like super intricate thoughts about like what I liked and what I disliked. I think that I discovered last year through making individual spreads for each book and writing down like favorite quotes and what moments I liked. It's present up here. It doesn't really do much for me in a journal. I don't flip through it and think, oh my god, that's so exciting. Like, I rarely do. And so I feel like this for my brain, it's like, again, a quick little tidbit, that's all we need, and then we move on. And I low-key kind of liked the simplicity of the spread, and also the fact that it all fit into a single spread was really nice. It was very satisfying when I finished it, and I was like, damn, I kind of did that. Kind of cute. Spacing-wise, nailed it. And remember when I said we would talk about my February TBR? We absolutely are, because you know what has happened with my February TBR? Not counting what I'm currently reading, which is Fellowship of the Ring. I have not read a single thing in my TBR. The only other thing, please hold, is Where the Library Hides, which I did DNF. I DNF'd this in my latest episode of finishing series I'm in the middle of. I am still in the midst of filming that video for you guys, so you'll see that this Sunday. However, at this current moment in time, I DNF'd this. Do you remember when I was so excited to start this and read this, and I even had the hope that this would be a 5-star in comparison to the first book? Yeah, absolutely not. I think I'm continuing to figure out which spaces of YA I enjoy and which ones I don't, especially after being so off-put by YA for such a long time. I started getting back into it in 2023, and still it's like such a hit or miss for me, where I find stories that I really enjoy and then there are others where I'm like, ooh, definitely not what I like to read about. And so I stand by the fact that YA is something that I will dip my toes in occasionally, but it's not the genre that I go to that sparks too much joy at this point in time, which is funny because I do still have quite a bit of YA books on my shelves, so I'm hoping that the ones I do still have are ones that I will end up enjoying. However, this one just felt too juvenile for me, and it really is a me problem. It's not a problem with the book per se and the way that it's written, although I do still stand by the facts that younger audiences might not enjoy this, mostly because there are times where it doesn't give any credit to the reader and it over-explains itself too much, and the main character is so naive that that's the part that off-put me, I think, the most. She is so clueless despite everything being right in front of her face so blatantly. It is genuinely insane. And so I didn't end up enjoying this one. So this was like the first book in my February TBR that I picked up, and it was the first DNF of the month, which not so great. And then I have read Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. Loved it the most, 5 stars. Then I read Play Along by Liz Tomford. 5 stars. Loved it the most. The problem with these books, none of them are in my TBR. And then I did start reading Apprentice to the Villain, also for my finishing series I'm in the middle of, and I am still in the middle of the book, and I do think I'm gonna rate it quite highly. I think I'm having a really good time with it, especially after the DNF. I'm like, now this silly I can vibe with, you know? It's like a very intentional sort of silly, and not necessarily the things don't make sense when pieced together kind of silly. And so this one I am enjoying. However, it is also not a part of my TBR. And so the second thing from my TBR I am reading, and today is literally the 17th, is Fellowship of the Ring, which is not the worst thing, but I still have got several other books to get through. And so let me bring over the TBR card because I do have it like right behind us. At present, we have got several different books we need to get through at least before the end of the month. So I know for sure I still have got to finish Blood Over Brighthaven. Remember this from my January TBR? I need to finish that this week as well. So this one will be read between oh my god, I don't even know. I'm going to have to alternate between these two quite heavily over the next 3 days and get both of these finished. So I'm going to be doing some serious reading, which I don't mind because it also entails sprinting, which is a great time. And you guys know I love doing it. So I will definitely be heavily reading these 2 books. But then I also heavily, definitely need to read Deep End by Ali Hazelwood because it is my February book club pick for Patreon. And so these 3 things plus Apprentice to the Villain absolutely need to get read in February, and I still have 11 days to do it, so we'll see how that goes. And then I would absolutely love to read Better Than Fiction before the month is over as well. We'll see what happens. I feel like this might be the month where I finally dip my toes into, ooh, can I finish my TBR in a week? Because honestly, there's still so much reading I need to do before the month is over, and I am nowhere near done with my mandatory reads. And there's that. I've just been reading for leisure, but also the leisure overlaps with videos. It's been a whole thing. I don't mind it too much personally, but I think at the time of renewing the TBR, it makes me wonder, what do I do? Do I just scratch it all off? Do I leave some on the TBR? Do I hard reset? What does a girl do? And so we'll see what happens. I'm kind of toying with the idea that if I don't read something from my TBR, it'll stay in the TBR cart for about, I would say, 2 months. So the month I chose it and then the month after. And then, plot twist, if I didn't read it in either of those 2 months, then it immediately goes into a read it or unhaul it, because I think that's fun, and it kind of brings us into a sort of timeline of, I chose the book in January, I left it in February, and then it's March. So what do? We either read it or we unhaul it, because it's not gonna go back on the shelves. We've got to get it read. And so I feel like that's a cool concept, honestly. We'll see what happens. I feel like that might be the case for Silver Under Nightfall by Rin Chupeco, because I picked this book up quite some time ago. I put it down. I never read it, never finished it. And then I was really excited about it for this TBR. I just haven't had the time to pick it up amongst everything else I had planned, because it's quite a long book. And now I'm like, well, hopefully in March, but if not, April. Read or unhaul it. Stay tuned. I need to go to the kitchen. We need to fetch a little something to eat, a little bite, because I am getting a little bit hungry, and I do have some hummus in my fridge that I definitely want to eat, and I've got some pita that I also definitely want to munch and crunch into, because it's garlic parmesan. Fantastic. That sound effect must be awful. I am so sorry. However, we're going to fetch that, and then I am also going to show you my Pokemon binder. So exciting. Again, I am waiting on 2 other binders to get here. Those will get here when they do. It'll hopefully be here either tomorrow or Wednesday, so that I can finally separate my sets into different binders, because I am currently working on 2 sets, but I want to add a 3rd, which I know is insane of me. We're not going to talk about it. However, Crown Zenith and Shrouded Fable are my top 2 at the moment, and I am working to get these completed. I don't know how soon. I'm just taking it. It just depends on stock. It just depends on what the stores have and how often I'm able to get these, and if I want to get them and how I'm feeling, and if I want to rip some packs. But you know, point is, a girl has Pokemon as part of like her hobbies now. Never thought I'd see the day, okay? I never did. So here's the thing, Mel doesn't do anything half-assed, so I got a Shrouded Fable Elite Trainer box, and then I also managed to get a hold of a Crown Zenith ETB, and you know what? Crown Zenith can often be so hard to get, and I found it for like a really reasonable price, and I ended up getting it because I love the art in Crown Zenith. I think it's so fun. I love like the OG yellow borders to the cards. I think it's really fun. I've got everything saved up in here because again, I'm waiting for a new binder to get here so that I can separate all of my different master sets into different binders and not confuse them into a single one. But I do have certain cards here that I really, really love that I really want to show you guys because they are so stinking cute. Also, I'm not collecting this for any other reason other than the fact that it's cute and I wanted a new hobby. I have been increasingly learning through time that I think for me it's really important to prioritize other hobbies other than reading. Like, yes, reading is a lot of fun and I love it and I've been doing it my whole life, but I think to balance that out with some gaming, with some, you know, Pokemon, whatever it is, I think it's really cool to be able to pick and choose depending on the day what I go to for some downtime, and I personally really, really enjoy that. And so specifically for this, I am literally just doing it because I want to go into my little player's guide and scratch off the cards up until I get all of them and I have a complete master set. I think it's really cool. And so oh my god, I love this card specifically. It's literally one of my favorite favorites. It's a Glaceon V-Star. I got this, oh my god, maybe like a week ago in a Crown Zenith pack, and I absolutely fell in love. But then, I mean, honestly, I think I'm gonna be quite biased here because the Galarian Gallery cards are so freaking nice. This Keldeo, I think, is absolutely stunning as well. Like, literally look at that. The art in Crown Zenith, I think, is unmatched. I also pulled my first Sardy boy. Literally look at him. Where is he? I think he's pretty much at the front. But literally look at Charizard. It's a Charizard V. Again, I don't really know what these cards are worth. I just know that when I see a V or a V-Star or a full art, I just put it in a top loader because why the freak not? I'm starting to collect this and it's honestly really fun. Also, you guys know I was obsessed with my Eevee. Last time I opened some Stellar Crown packs, literally look at this EVV. It is the cutest freaking thing ever. I am absolutely going to be the stereotypical girly pop that is absolutely obsessed with the evolutions, and I cannot say that I am mad at it. However, I really do love Bulbasaur. I think he's adorable as well. And oh my god, wait, which pack did I get him from? It's from Shrouded Fable. Q-Fant? Stop it right now. It's the cutest little thing ever. I don't know what any of these Pokemons do, by the way. I did start watching the anime, so I'm coming for y'all, okay? Don't play with me because I am gonna come for y'all because I am 3 episodes into Indigo League. You're about to be sick of me, okay? I'm gonna be so knowledgeable by the end of March. I did get a Dusclops full art from Shrouded Fable, and listen, I'm a Shrouded Fable truther. I know people hate it, but I love it. The art is so beautiful as well. Q-Fant, literally look at that. Look at the shine on that thing. It is so freaking pretty. So I am obsessed with Shrouded Fable. I do have to declare, I do have to admit to the general public. However, these things aside, which are really cool, the binder really is the coolest thing. Literally look at this. I found this at the toy store. You know it's like a serious thing when you go into the toy section of a department store to look for a Pokemon binder. Anyways, I got this one. So we've got Arceus. People pronounce it differently in the cover, which I think is the most fun. This binder is also huge, and I really do have to organize this thing because I got a couple of packs to figure out like which art style I enjoyed best, and I should have just looked it up online, honestly. But I have got some Stellar Crown in here. I have some, oh god, I don't even know what else I've got in here. I just know I've got like a bunch of like different stuff. Literally look at this Azumarill. It is the cutest thing ever, guys. I'm obsessed. Who am I about to become? You are going to see me become an entirely different person. I'm kidding. No, this won't become my personality. However, this will become part of the household agenda, okay? And so it's really cute. Also, these skitties, stop it right now. Isn't this like the cutest little thing you've ever seen? Come on now. I just, again, very freaking cute, and I absolutely love it. Oh, I also got my first Pikachu. I just can't remember what pack I got this from. 162 cards. I think that must be Stellar Crown, but I could be wrong. But I do have my first Pikachu, my first Pika Pika. Oh my god, and now I get the context of Pika Pika, because now I have watched 2 episodes of Indigo League. However, the biggest thing here does come in the form of Shrouded Fable, which I have started to organize as best I can. However, I am going to migrate Shrouded Fable, because it is a smaller set, into one of the new binders when I do get it. However, look at that. This is, okay, I just I don't know how to explain myself. I know some of you guys will be very happy about this. You can tell the full arts are not aplenty yet. We'll get there when it's time, but I'm just having a lot of fun. But you guys will be like, Mel, a couple of weeks ago, you had just opened a pack, 2 packs, 3 packs, and now we've got a binder and Elite Trainer boxes. Listen, I like it. It's fun. The illustrations are really wholesome, and it's great. So I'll share more when the other binders get here. Maybe I'll like squeeze it into a different vlog. But for right now, just wanted to share that with the class. Because again, I know a couple of you guys will be very happy, because I did not expect you guys to be like so excited in that sleepover video. But you guys were like, oh my god, so happy that you're getting into Pokemon. And I'm like, oh my god, me too. And then also during Patreon live shows, so many people have come up and been like, I love Pokemon too. What's up? And so didn't realize, I mean, I probably should have realized that a lot of people hold a lot of nostalgia for this, but because I didn't grow up with Pokemon, like my brother watched it occasionally, but he was never really into it, and so I didn't even soak it up by osmosis. I was just indifferent toward it, and now Look at me. Look at me now. Hummus, because again, got this a couple of days ago and oh wait, no, it actually expires in March. So I'm good. I don't know why I had in my brain that this expired on the 19th. And I was like, we can't let it go bad, people. But no, this is still good for a while, which is really good. So I am going to, hi baby girl. She literally heard me tearing this up and she's like, what are you doing, mother? She hears anything ripping, breaking, tearing, and she immediately is like in tune to what's happening. Point is, I'm going to have this hummus. It is a red bell pepper hummus, which is some of my favorite to eat. So I have this, and then I've got these pita chips, which are Parmesan, garlic, and herb, and I am really excited. I also have, please hold, the newest development, okay? The newest development is that Mel has officially gotten into Arizona. Now, however, this to say, I mostly like the half and half one, the Arnold Palmer one. And I bought one of each this go around when I went grocery shopping. It's like a nice little treat, you know, for the week. And I figured out after trying both of them, the Arnold Palmer one is my favorite. And so next time I go, I will be getting 2 of those instead of 1 and 1. However, I think this plus that as a little treat tonight is going to be amazing as I continue to listen to a little bit more of Fellowship of the Ring. Let's actually check how long chapter 3 is because I am unsure of how long this specific chapter is. Absolutely, brother. It is 1 hour and 5 minutes. Okay, great. Fantastic. No, absolutely. I'm going to listen to that while I eat a little something and maybe I'll embark into like another bookish thing. I think I might rearrange my shelves, the unread ones specifically, because I think at present they're just a little bit messy and I do feel like it could do with some reorganization. I also find that anytime I reorganize my shelves, specifically cat number 2 is here with us, so you might see Vin as well very shortly. However, I do find anytime I rearrange my shelves, it makes me even more excited to read the things that I already own. And this year, one of my biggest goals is to buy less books. However, my main priority is to get the number of unread books down as much as possible this year. And the only real way that's gonna happen is if I really limit the amount of books that I am buying. And so I'm mainly focusing on getting books that I've already read that I don't own because I read them digitally, or getting those new releases that I know I'm going to read right away so that they're not added to the shelves. They're just added to my read shelves. And so I think that's like a good approach, hopefully. So we'll see by the end of the year, honestly. However, I do want to reorganize just a little bit because there are some things that aren't fully making sense. So we might not do that tonight, but we might do it tomorrow morning when I do wake up. So we'll see what happens because I am already starting to feel the tendrils of sleepiness get to me. And so we're gonna munch and crunch on this for a little bit and listen to the audiobook, make a little bit more progress, and then we might do it tonight, we might do it tomorrow. It just depends on how I'm doing energy-wise because anything could happen. Honestly, when I hyperfixate on something, girl, the sky's the limit. So I might be actually able to do it tonight. So we'll see what happens. All right, my friends, I didn't end up listening to as much of Fellowship of the Ring at the end as I would have liked to. I literally listened to, please hold, an extra 15 minutes because I got distracted replying to all of the messages that I did not reply to today. And then my mom called, my brother called, and we were just chatting and I lost the track of time and I absolutely did not read the extra chapter that I wanted to, es decir, the next hour of the book, but it's fine. There will be plenty of opportunities for me to read this week because I definitely need to have this done in a couple of days. So again, I'll be doing loads of fellowship reading alongside the other things we spoke about earlier. But that is basically the end of this ultimate book video, the end of this vlog. I did end up updating my TBR shelf just a little bit, just kind of switching things around. I still need to move those candles over to the living room, so I'll do that tomorrow morning when I am feeling more energetic because my energy is rapidly waning. However, I did reorganize this just a little bit, made sure that all of the gaps were kind of filled in, and instead the little gaps that were showing at the top is showing at the bottom. So I organized things in a way that makes a little bit more sense to me, kind of putting the fantasy books right in the middle, which are the ones that I want to read very, very soon, and then kind of adding things around that. So it makes me low-key very excited for the couple of next month's TBR because, again, there's something about renewing the TBR and organizing it again that makes it feel kind of like you've got new books to read. So I like to do this periodically. So I think that's going to be really fun when we do get to build the upcoming month's TBR. And again, I'm going to try and look at my shelves every so often so that if there is anything I see that jumps out at me as in it needs to leave, I can get that out as soon as possible so that it can get into the right hands and it doesn't start collecting dust on my shelves, because that is not the point of it. So that being said, that is the end of today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, don't forget to give it a massive thumbs up down below, as well as letting me know if you have read any of the books I mentioned in this video, or even if you are currently reading or have already read A Fellowship of the Ring. I would love to hear all of your thoughts down in the comments. Also, if you collect Pokemon cards or if you're into Pokemon, do let a girly pop know. You guys know that I actually got a couple of tattoos recently, and low-key thinking of going back again because I already wanted to get a few more tattoos done. But what happens if I add a Bulbasaur tattoo? Who's going to stop me? The answer is nobody. Somebody may try, but it's just not gonna happen. Because honestly, now that I've got the Totoro right here, I'm like, what happens if I just add a Bulba Boy just on the other arm? Who's gonna stop me? And so the prospect of that is exciting in the future when I do like solidify my love for this thing and I know it's not just like a passing thing. So we'll get there when we get there. Do let a girl know all of those things down in the comments, and subscribe if you have not done so already for more content like this. And as always, if you guys would like to support the channel further, join a community of really lovely like-minded people, Patreon is always linked down below. I am about to very soon this week announce our March readathon, so you may want to join us for that. It's going to be a month-long readathon. There are going to be prompts and maps and materials and even a few special surprises along the way that I think are going to be really, really cool. So if you want to join a community of fellow readers and people who enjoy cozy hobbies in general, be it crocheting, gaming, knitting, and all the beautiful things, do check Patreon out at the description. I love you guys so much, and I will see you on the next one, friends. Love you the most, and I will see you very soon. Goodbye!